2024. The invocation will be given by Dr. John Vining, Youth Counseling Service, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Commissioner Cindy Slater. Please stand.
Our Father, we are grateful tonight for your goodness and your blessings to us. We are mindful of the condition of our world and of our country, of our county. I pray tonight your blessings upon this commission, that you would bless them with the wisdom, the knowledge, and the discernment of your Spirit. Help them know what to do and how to do it. We pray for ourselves that you would grant us a move of your Spirit across this world, would turn our hearts and our minds to the ways, to the Word, to the will of God. In this season of politics and all that that means, I pray that you would not give us what we deserve, but give us what grace calls for. Pray your blessings upon our city and our county, these who lead it. We thank you for all of your blessings to us. In Jesus' name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I would like to recognize the candidate for district attorney, Mr. Jeff Miller, being here tonight. Also, I'd like to recognize Lee University Professor Kimberly Lyon, whose class is reporting and writing, and she has 3 of her students here tonight, Olivia, Bella, and Abby. And they're going to, I suspect, write us up tonight after this. And before we turn it over to the mayor, I'm going to do something I rarely ever do. I have a couple of remarks to make. During the last meeting, the mayor spoke of now being the opportune time to consider the benefits of consolidating the city and county school systems. I fully concur with the mayor that we, as elected officials, should diligently explore every avenue to ensure all residents of our community receive the best services and opportunities. Prior to the mayor's comments, I had the opportunity to engage in consolidation discussion with several community leaders regarding issues facing our school system. Every discussion included concerns with the impact of our community's growth on both systems. Bradley County and Cleveland City schools are at or near capacity as a result of our community growth. The end of this growth trend is not in sight. There are approximately 900 new homes planned or currently under construction, which will yield another significant uptick in new students. I appreciate our mayor making the statements, which has ignited public discussion. We were elected to represent the residents of Bradley County and to make thoughtful decisions on difficult issues to provide for the best interest of our constituency. It is critical that we step up at this time to consider all options, including consolidation, to address capacity issues facing our schools and to better prepare our children to be tomorrow's leaders. Thank you. Mayor Davis, report from the mayor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, everyone. Nothing to report tonight, but I would like to ask everyone to remember the family of former Commissioner Donald Kaywood in your prayers. And that's all I have, unless someone has something for me.
Anyone have anything for the mayor? Thank you very much. Reports from yes.
I do ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any update on negotiating on the fire station down 5 Point?
He told me on Friday that he had gotten a draft of the legal agreement because they were going to provide that too. And as soon as he had time to study it, look over it, he would get it to me. I haven't gotten it yet, but yeah, we've made some progress.
Is it still that they're gonna offer money or what?
The offer that we're working with them on is sort of like originally where they would build a building on our property. I was trying to think of the things that were mentioned in that meeting that we've negotiated them up for. It's a little bit larger building. There was 2 or 3 things that were added to it, but still in the works to, if it's agreeable, to build a building for Bradley County.
Do you have any idea how much longer this gonna last, this negotiating with them?
I would assume when we get this agreement, in the next few days, hopefully, we'll have something.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll now go to Commissioner Beatty, please.
Everything looks pretty good in the first district.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to announce a meeting, or a committee meeting, landfill committee meeting starting on February 12th of 24 at 11 o'clock. This should be just prior to our meeting.
Is that all, sir?
And that'll be it.
Commissioner Alford, please.
Second district's doing well, thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Collins?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. District 3 is doing very well. Just 2 things tonight to look at in terms of maybe where we can have this conversation. I had an opportunity to talk to Ms. Wooten this weekend, and I appreciate her phone call, and she had, I thought, a great conversation in terms of surplus sales and some procedures and protocols that perhaps we can look at differently for the future. One of those items included the possibility of an indication through signage in terms of what property would be for sale. I know that there are items that we do, and Mr. Lewis Mayor, you may be able to address this, how we go about identifying a surplus area for sale. I know it's in the newspaper. I think it's publicly, obviously, announced at the commission meeting. We use social media. But as far as signage goes, I don't know that that's something that's done in our processes or procedures.
Well, we haven't, but we could. It's, in the past, it's just been advertised for sale as a legal thing, but no reason why we couldn't add the signage.
I thought about, and again, I'm not advocating for it or against it. I thought it was a great idea, and I think it would merit conversation to use what we do now and then incorporate signage on the property that would allow for, I think, more eyes to go on that land and to see it, and if there's a possibility of asking questions or attending a meeting or whomever. I would love to get the legal and legislative to look at it, what it looks like in policy and procedure, and then obviously finance would need to look at it in terms of how it's, how it's funded. I think we could use a handful of signs just over and over. I don't know how often surplus land is thrown out there, but I think it's just something to discuss.
It's not very often, and I doubt that there's any amount of money that would require a finance committee meeting. Maybe I'll turn this over to the chairman of the Legal and Legislative Committee at his discretion. He can have a meeting. We just had one this morning, so.
Okay.
Yeah, policy and procedure. We do it on rezoning and things of that nature. So the signs probably are available, just a matter of no one's ever thought of it. Legally, we met the requirements legally.
Sure.
And that was taken care of. Go ahead, sir. Anything else?
The second thing was, I'm glad Mr. Wilson's here. I appreciate him, and he's been great to answer a lot of questions that I have. Anytime there's a zoning question that comes up, he's quick to, hey, this is happening or that's happening. And so recently what I've done is anytime that there's rezoning, I always look at the future land use plan map. And I know that's kind of I don't want to say controversy, but it's a little bit of a subject for us to discuss. And looking at that and talking to Mr. Wilson, it's honestly just not a good map. And I don't know if Mr. Wilson wants to talk to that, but it's very difficult to really pinpoint. I guess I'm looking at it as a citizen. If I'm a citizen and I want to make a decision about my property in terms of applying for rezoning or looking at selling it or doing something different, and I want to go in and type in my address, that's something that can't be done. I'm wondering if this is an appropriate time for us to look at really clarifying this map and making it more transparent for our community members and citizens so that they know, especially in light of, I mean, we're in unprecedented growth, 900 new homes, new industry. This is an issue that I think we're going to have to deal with, not just in the short term, but in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So our processes, our procedures for zoning, rezoning, annexation, that's going to be the bulk of our conversations, I think, moving forward. And so it would be nice. Ms. Wilson, I don't know if you want to talk about that any. Not particularly. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I got a copy of the map if you want to look at it. And it was hard for me, and I'm pretty tech savvy. I mean, it was pretty hard for me to identify, man, what are these zones and where is this, and is this in the future land use plan? I know we haven't adopted it as a body, and that's something that the Planning Commission has adopted. I don't know if we need to work with them or just have a conversation or just throw it out and not talk about it altogether, but just something I wanted to throw out.
It's an issue that probably needs to be addressed. We have a representative on the Planning Commission, that being Commissioner Hughes and Mr. Wilson. That's a subject that probably should be discussed in the Planning Commission first, come up with some valid recommendations before it comes to our level. But I think it does need to be discussed. Commissioner Hughes, can you get with at your convenience?
Mr. Chairman, I'll get with Mr. Willis about that and see if we can set something up in the next meeting.
There's
I believe,
it's something that should be discussed between the brilliant people on that Planning Commission, because they're spread throughout the county leadership positions, and they're pretty sharp on this stuff before it comes up here. Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, our meeting for this month has been canceled and it'll be put next month. Is there any way we can add that to the agenda on that? And then we'll just speak on it then. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
Other than that, I appreciate you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you for always working with me. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Winters, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The 7th District is doing well. The 60 highway is now a thoroughfare. It's moving fastly, and the bridge is just about to be near completion, and we got some great things happening in the 7th District. Mr. Chairman, the Legal Legislative Committee met earlier today and discussed the information previously provided by the Commission to the Commission by citizens regarding the election office. We reviewed as a committee the Tennessee Code Annotated 212-201 and determined with the help of our county attorney that the Election Commission holds oversight authority over the election office. Therefore, we voted today unanimously as a committee to move the information provided to the Commission to the Election Commission and the State Election Commission. Mr. Chairman, I place on the February 5, 2024 voting session agenda a motion to confirm the Legal Legislative Committee recommendation to move all of the provided information to the Election Commission and to the State Election Commission. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Gilbert asked the committee to consider a letter to the governor, other officials regarding biosolids being brought to the Bradley County for disposal. Our committee voted to refer this matter to the Landfill Committee. So, Commissioner Hughes, please add it to your next committee agenda. I think you announced that today, and move forward with that. This is to get us on the cutting edge about biosolids and see the impact it might be here local, as well as to our neighboring county and neighboring state. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go to Commissioner Gilbert, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Winters and Commissioner Hughes. 4th District's doing good. Thank you, Bradley County Road Department, Cleveland City Public Works, and TDEC. Our neighbors down the road here are still out of school, and they're having trouble still with ice. And, man, our county and city showed up big. They done a fine job, and I'd like to thank them. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I guess I need to open my mouth. You opened yours on this school thing. The keep talking about consolidation, what it would do. Listen, the county pays for their schools and the city pays for theirs. I don't know what difference it makes in money. But, of course, it's like now, if we build a school out there, we've got to pay the county so much, the city so much. And, of course, I don't think that's right either, but that's the way it's laid out. But still, when we start talking about consolidation, I don't like it and never will like it. And you can't tell me that it makes a difference in the cost. You still got to have a school to put them in. And the city's got schools and we got schools. If we need more room, then we need to build more schools. If we got growth out here, that's what we got to do. We got to add to the schools. We had it before about several years ago. We had to add a lot of pods and a lot of additions to schools. Well, we might be in that shape again. We might have to start thinking about that again. If we got population growth, we're going to have more room. Well, it doesn't matter if we build on or the city builds on. We still got to build. We still got to pay. So, if you ain't never went through a big tax increase, you need to start thinking about this. Because you will go through a tax increase if we expand these schools, and we're going to have to. So, we need to be honest with the people and go ahead and get it out to them that it's on its way. And it don't matter if it's this commission or the next, but I'm sure it'll be probably this commission before it's over with. So I just had to say something about that because I was opposed to that quite a bit last week. And if I offended anybody, I apologize, but that's just the way it is. Thank you.
If we don't all have thick skin, Howard, we will get it. Commissioner Goins, please.
The 5th District's doing good, and we're thawing out. That's all I have.
Commissioner Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report tonight.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to say Don Kaywood, he served on this county commission for 4 years, and he'll be missed. Don was a military man, business owner, and he was devoted and married to Nancy for 62 years. And let's remember Nancy and Doug, his son. We could go on and talk about Don, everything that he did while he was alive. So let's just remember the Kaywood family tonight. And a big thank you to Tom Collins, the road department, law enforcement, Bradley County Sheriff's Office, EMS, fire and rescue, and all the healthcare providers while we were snowed in. Thank you to all of them, and great job. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Ledford, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Kaywood was one of our constituents in our district, and he was a great guy, and he supported me well. He was a good guy. I also want to thank Denny for that good idea we discussed briefly. Talking to Ms. Wooten, that signage is a good option. I think that's a great thing that we need to do. Also, Bentley Thomas, his father, passed away. Let's condolences and prayers for him. And Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you, I would like to call Miss Mary Wooten to speak to us about the article which I have in the paper about the SPCA. She'd like to come up and speak to us on that if it's okay.
That'll be fine, Ms. Wooten. Try to keep it to 5 minutes if you could. If you can't, ask for more time and we'll probably grant it.
Okay, the reason we're here tonight is because we want to clarify our meeting on January. I feel like there was some consistencies in January the 18th. Right up. Never at any time did we mention SPCA. None of us are against an animal shelter. I think it's wonderful. I grew up with animals. My dad was a veterinarian. My job was to clean the kennels, so you can imagine what I did. But at any rate, we do not feel like it's right to put this in a residential neighborhood. Each and every one of us are in full support of the animal shelter. However, put it in the proper. A dog's hearing is twice as sensitive as mine and yours. We hear between 20,000 hertz. A dog can hear between 40, and 60,000. So can you imagine what a dog would do right behind the fire department when they hear those sirens go out? They're going to howl for hours. New Street, I'm going to use my hand as an example. Property that we're questioning right there. Right here is New Street. There's 6 homes. Right here is Cross Street. There's 9 homes right there. Pruitt runs right around here. There's 14 homes there. Plantation right here. There's 16 homes. Mrs. Stewart from her apartments there on Plantation to supplement her income. We have Brenda Gilbert, who has apartments on Truett. That is her sole income. She depends on that to make a living. I made a comment, probably poor use of verbiage there, that if we go to war, we expect you folks to go with us. That merely means we expect your support. We voted for you, gentlemen, to support us when we have an issue like this come up. So that's all that we're asking you to do, is to support us. Makes no sense whatsoever that anyone would put a bid on a piece of property that's zoned residential and then expect you to rezone it. None of that makes sense. I'm sorry. That'd be like me going down here buying a car, drive through town. I say, hey, I'd like to have a house there. I'll just buy that and get the commissioners to rezone it. That's what that amounts to. Last but not least, I want you to know that we appreciate your time, and we expect you and ask you to fully support us in this. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any comments or questions, Ms. Wooten? Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you,
We
sir.
appreciate you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wooten. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to Commissioner Rogers, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to follow up with Commissioner Gilbert and Commissioner Mason's comments as well, and just say thank you to the Road Department, Sheriff's Department, EMS, and everyone who kept us safe, and to the schools. I know it was a lot to have to go through multiple. I think it was going on 7 days off of school, close to that, and even more with that with the weekends and everything. So I know it was a lot to go on, and just want to appreciate everybody and what they did, and we're able to try and keep the roads as clear as possible. And appreciate the mayor for going along with TVA and their rollback, because it seems like we're still rolling back here in this courtroom today. So forgot my parka in the truck tonight. So
we're preventing blackouts.
Yeah, it's thank goodness. So that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to the agenda items to be on next week's voting agenda. Agenda item A, I'll go to Commissioner Slater, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you recall, in our last meeting, Mr. Logan came and spoke to us about opioid price litigation, and I think this has gotten even larger now. So, Mr. Logan, if you'd like to come and share, each of you have a copy of a proposed resolution in front of you. We have a copy. Everybody has a copy, I think. Yes. We're on it tonight, Mr. Logan. We got it.
The individual who is chairing what we have now decided is the best option for us in what's going to be, and already is, multi-district litigation. The attorney who is the lead counsel for multi-district litigation filed the first lawsuit on September the 23rd of 2023. Other people have learned some of the information that I've become aware of, along with Ms. Jessie out of Greenville, Tennessee. Crystal Jessie is a marvelous attorney, but this is the foremost mass tort litigation specialist recognized by most people, who is heading up this litigation, and he's already filed the lawsuit on behalf of Schenectady, New York. It's filed in the state of New Jersey, and it is shocking. It's always a privilege to work with great lawyers from around the country. We've got good lawyers around this neck of the woods, but when you see who this is, you will learn that he was a summa cum laude graduate from West Virginia. He has moved to Puerto Rico, but he works all over the states. And the reason he moved is because apparently there's tremendous tax savings if you live in Puerto Rico. So it's just astonishing, some of the things that we learn about our government. What this is intended to do is what we did before with reference to the opioid. You will recall that we had resolutions from Bradley County, Polk County, about 5 or 6 different counties, which I was involved in, and I waived all of the attorney's fees after the state of Tennessee they got to be in control of the disbursements. I have not yet been able to, and you will note from the emails that I've been working on changing this contract for legal services. The resolution was pretty easy, I thought, in which you would authorize the mayor to sign the agreement, which I've proposed to you. And if you don't, if you have the paper copies, fine. If you want one, I've got plenty of them. Now, what that contract provides is that there will be no expenses, and Mr. Fuller and his group are the ones who have agreed to front all of the expenses that will take place in terms of the litigation expenses. And there are no expenses which would be attributable to this for the responsibility of communities like Bradley County, Tennessee. I will know more about where the AG's office is because I haven't been able to ascertain. They've been busy and they've been closed, and they do not respond as quickly as folks do, even from New Jersey. So if you will consider this resolution, we will once again be in the forefront of the litigation. If we get an easy resolution of these cases without participating in the multi-district, and I intend to be a part of the multi-district council, which as some of you know about these class actions which are filed, and then multiple lawsuits because they're unique to our communities in terms of diabetes. We are now focusing solely on insulin and other drugs related to diabetic conditions. The information which has been developed is, and you can see that in some of the material which you've received. Many years ago, when insulin was developed, the person who developed it surrendered their patent in exchange for, and I don't recall, I think it was $1 that he surrendered his patent for the development of the drug of insulin. And now, my wife, insulin dependent diabetic. Many of you will have family members who are insulin dependent, and the cost for the insulin is running from $300 to $700, but the cost of production is $2. Now, my suggestion to you is that we have an opportunity to be at the forefront of this litigation. First lawsuit was filed, as I said, 9/20. I have a copy of the actual docket sheet in that Schenectady, New York case, which is in New Jersey, which is the home of most of these. It's the corporate headquarters, purpose of venue and jurisdiction over these manufacturers. We expect to be able to present additional drugs, but the determination of how much money is going to be recovered is going to be based on if there are additional ones that we are satisfied that we will have an opportunity to be successful in those lawsuits. We understand that we'll be able to develop additional medications for additional diseases that are there. Now, if that doesn't come to fruition with enough information, then we will not undertake that. I believe that I should bring each of those back to you if we develop the potential lawsuit. The lawsuit itself is 137 pages long. I've got the first 10 pages or so that I'm happy to email to you. It is just a description of what cases. First, actually 15 pages I have, and I can email those to you. It's another large undertaking, but if whatever percentage we recover, if we recover, we will be being paid based on the number of people who are dependent on insulin in our respective counties. And those figures are readily available through the pharmacies and the pharmaceutical companies. So I think we need to be involved. If the state gets involved, they are going to do the same thing they wound up doing in the opioid litigation. I'll certainly advise you. And you can, I might even recommend to you that we go with the AG's office if they get the legislation, which actually was not the distribution of the opioid passed by the legislature, did not favor. We were the opioid expressway. And I don't think that disbursement enacted by the legislature fully thought out. You'll recall that most of that money stayed with the state, and the state then developed programs statewide dealing with the opioid. I'm happy to answer any questions. I apologize for my verbosity. I have a quotation I developed. Bartlett's familiar quotations will not publish. I think Vice Chairman Winters has heard me say it. Clarity is a term that we all know about. The actual quotation, very short. Verbosity brings confusion. Brevity brings clarity. Apologize, I've been too close. Questions?
Anyone have any? Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Logan, always good to see you, sir. I do have a few questions. Is the Attorney General's Office of the State of Tennessee involved in this at any capacity at this point
I
in
have
time?
not been able to get a confirmation. They are not involved in the class actions which are brought thus far.
How many counties in the United States are a part of this class action lawsuit currently?
Currently, I'm only aware of the one case, which I have that I'll provide you with a copy of the entire case.
Is it the
Schenectady?
I think your assistant sent that over to us today. It's about 140 something pages, I think. So
She sent all of it.
So there are no other counties in the state of Tennessee currently that are a part of this class action lawsuit?
Greene County has agreed to get involved. That's where Ms. Jessie resides, and we are trying to coordinate that across this. And I'm going to present it to Polk County, McMinn County, Monroe County, and the surrounding counties who joined us in the opioid litigation. And I'll try to take it statewide.
And the reason for this, I would assume, is and what it says in this resolution is the legal claim against manufacturers, diabetic medication, and engineering kickbacks and other things, and improper price fixing. Do you know currently how many people in Bradley County are insulin dependent and use these?
I know that those figures are available, and it is a huge number of our citizens.
I'm one of them, so
I don't know the specific number, but I know it is in excess of 3,000.
And 3,000 people.
In excess.
Excess of 3,000.
I suspect that if you looked around, everybody knows somebody. Many of you know somebody and know their families well.
Mr. Chairman, I understand what we did with the opioid lawsuits and the litigation, and I understand totally about this insulin litigation as well. I have some more questions concerning this due to the fact that the state attorney general is not, and the state of Tennessee is not behind this yet, is that if Bradley County gets involved in this, potentially, what could this do to our legal ramifications going up against multi-billion multinational corporations as a single county in the state of Tennessee? Some of the questions that I have, I'd like to be able to ask our county attorney, and I understand that she's not here currently. I'm not a part of legal and legislative, but I would gladly attend a legal and legislative committee meeting to be able to ask those questions, whether in front of the public or in an executive session with our county attorney to make sure we're doing the right things. I totally understand. And if there's one attorney in this town and in this area that would do a great job, it would be you, Mr. Logan. But I also, as the county attorney who is responsible for looking after the county's best interest legally, there are just some questions that I think that I would like to ask her, in a meeting with other county commissioners there as well. So that's all I have.
Could I briefly advise you, because you were not here, and when we began the opioid litigation and every state in the union got involved, we still could have collected attorney's fees on that portion that was coming here because we had a contract and had participated in it. As I said, I waived that. But what happened is the settlement went to a group of attorneys, and the fees were then developed. But there was a residual fund that was paid to not just the state of Tennessee. They reserved a portion, and there was a portion approved at the multi-district litigation that then was distributed to many of the attorneys around the state, around the nation. So we took care of that two ways. The legislature made a decision as to what the disbursement was going to be, and they enacted a statute for that. Now, but we still got available to us a fee as a part of it. Part of that fee was, and I think Mayor Davis may recall that, a part of that fee went to attorneys who had participated in litigation. So I think that your questions are valid questions, and I have no concerns at all about talking to Crystal. You and I can talk to her individually, but at this point, I'd like for us to get out front. If we get to the point where we reserve more money for our county, that's been the goal of Logan Thompson for at least 43 years. 10 years before that, I worked with another law firm.
I'm good.
Commissioner Winters.
Jimmy, what is the timeline on this? We're talking about how many months, years down the road, or what do you see it?
The opioid litigation took a total of about 5 years.
Yeah.
And the disbursements that are made from that fund are stretched out for a long period of time by the various parties who were defended.
Right.
So in that, my suggestion is this will be a minimum of 3 to 5 years, without question. and the degree of participation by us in determining how many people should get money who are residents of Bradley County. I don't know the relative strengths, but other counties who stay out of it and the state doesn't get involved, those folks are just not going to get what they should get.
You just heard about having further discussion. Are you comfortable with sharing with Commissioner Rogers questions he might have with our county attorney and
No question.
committee
No
meeting?
question. As you know, I think that's my goal, is to work closely with our county government.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rogers, I'm going to ask Commissioner Winters to consider the Legal and Legislative Committee, look at it with the county attorney. Will that be fine with you, sir?
That'd be great, Mr. Chairman. And let me just clarify real quick, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. I've been taking insulin for years, okay? They've been hurting me and taking my money for every week. You know, every single day I'm taking insulin, and I'm wearing glucometer right now from Dexcom, okay? So I'm all for sticking it to insulin companies, but I also want to make sure that we're protecting Bradley County, protecting what we're supposed to do, and we're just dotting all of our I's and crossing all of our T's. So, and I'm all for this, but I just want to make sure that our county attorney is good with it, and we're making sure we're doing the best thing possible for Bradley County.
Well, let me make sure you understand one aspect. I have the greatest of respect for Crystal Freiberg. Her husband is a judge I appear in front of on serious matters, but I am not certain as to her experience in mass tort litigation and those kinds of matters. So I certainly want to participate with her. Any questions that you might have. But
That's all I have.
want the commissioners to know, I do believe that it's your decision.
We're trying to set a time for the meeting here. That's what we're mumbling about up here. Just bear with us here for a second.
Anyway, next week.
Yep, set it up.
Sorry.
Trying to go back to brevity here so we get things done.
Brevity.
Don't need to stumble around.
Or 6 o'clock.
Well, it's the fifth Monday next week.
Oh. Then we can meet.
Fifth of February is the next meeting.
Crystal could meet. We'll check the calendar. We'll check the calendar.
We'll get the date fixed up. Does anyone else have any questions for all your load?
Mr. Chairman, I move to place this resolution on the February 5th voting agenda, please.
Done. Keep that on your. Thank you. All right, now we'll go to agenda item B, Commissioner Mike Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution. This is a resolution to rezone from rural residential 1 or R1 district to general commercial C2 district, property located at or around the 1175 block of Old Chattanooga Pike Southwest, identified by tax map 065 parcel 057.05, and these can be seen on pages 2 and 3. The Bradley County Regional Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend their rezoning, and I would like to place this on the next voting agenda.
That's done, sir. We'll now go to agenda item C, Commissioner Mike Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, it's a resolution to rezone from Forestry Agricultural Residential or FAR district to rural commercial C2 to general industrial I1 district property located at or around 1198 51st Street Northeast, identified by tax map 0035J, Group C, parcel 016.00. These can be seen on pages 4 and 5. This, again, was Bradley County Regional Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend the rezoning. And I'd like to place this on the next voting agenda also.
That has been done. Okay. Thank you. We'll now go to communication from the audience. I'll recognize anyone from the audience that would like to speak. You have 5 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to address the county commission? All right. The announcements, we have a landfill meeting February the 12th, 11 a.m. The next meeting will be a voting session, Monday, February the 5th at 7 p.m. Finance Committee, February the 5th at 11:30 a.m. at the courthouse. Before I adjourn, could I ask Professor Lyon to come up and see me before you leave? And with that,